What's up, Nomies? Today I'm going to break down exactly how I lost over 40 pounds and transformed my body from 20% to 5% body fat in just 8 months. From my experience, there were 6 major keys in making this cut successful. And they're all important, but you'll likely be the most surprised by the 6th and final key. So for our first key, and probably the most obvious one, is our workouts and expenditure. I use strength training exercises to retain all the muscle I've built over the years. Strength training is one of the best ways for you to produce the result of fat loss, not just weight loss. But strength training alone isn't enough. I spent the last 250 days completing an average of over 13,000 steps a day without fail. There wasn't a single week with less. Over the last 8 months, I've lifted 5 days a week with the following split. Monday is our hamstring focused leg day. Most people need to grow them, myself included, so we hit them hard and we hit them first. Tuesday is our chest focused push day that includes shoulders and triceps as well. Wednesday finishes off the first half of the split with our back focused pull day before cleaning things up with biceps and my only ab session of the week. Thursday I like to go outside and do something else that I enjoy for a nice active rest day. I still ensure to get my steps and focus on some good stretching. Friday is our quad focused leg day and closes out the lower half for the week. Saturday is the last lift, so we knock out the longest lift of the week with our full upper session. This one starts with chest or back before cleaning up any remaining volume for the arms and shoulders. Now, if you'd like more help with workouts, I'll have the best split video linked down in the description. With that being said, your split matters much less than the intensity you bring to the lift itself. Finally, on our Sunday rest day, we get the most important task of the week done, our meal prep. Which leads me to the second key of fat loss, our calories and macros. There's plenty of websites online that can help you determine your maintenance calories. I definitely suggest comparing a few of them and take the average as a starting point. To lose weight, we need to eat less than this assumed maintenance. When I started this prep in January, I was a 200-pound chunky monkey, and I needed more calories because of the extra fat I was carrying. As you lose weight, your maintenance does change, but not as much as most people might think. I spent 24 of the total 35 weeks at 2450 calories, which is a lot of food for most people, as long as your diet is fairly clean. The lowest I needed to go was 2000 calories, but I only spent 2 weeks there towards the end of the cut. 95% of the time, my diet consisted of overnight oats for breakfast, hot honey beef and sweet potato bowl for lunch, a post-workout yogurt bowl, my not-so-famous goat jelly burger and homemade fries for dinner, and finally, a Ninja Creamy to finish off the night. This diet includes a balanced set of macros with enough protein to maintain muscle mass with 190 grams total. This satisfies my 1.2 gram per pound of lean mass rule. It also includes enough fat to maintain hormones with 75 grams total. You'll typically want your fat intake to be around 25% of your total calories for the day. And lastly, it includes enough carbs to fuel the workouts and recover from them as well. Carbs are typically the redheaded stepchild and get whatever's left of the remaining calories, so mine typically fell around 260 grams total. Having the correct macros is pretty crucial to getting the outcome of fat loss you're looking for. If you don't get good nutrition in general, you do run a greater risk of losing the muscle mass that you've worked so hard to build. Now, as for supplements, there's only a few things that I would recommend to just about anyone. Firstly, a good creatine source, because creatine is known to be one of the best and cheapest supplements to speed up progress. Secondly, a good protein supplement like the one I use from Rise every day. And lastly, some form of electrolyte powder. I like to start my morning with both creatine and electrolytes to get my brain and body functioning a little quicker. Now, I do take some other great supplements as well, like fish oil, magnesium, zinc, a probiotic, and a multivitamin, and I do think that most people would benefit from doing the same. Being that most people struggle with the nutrition side of things the most, consider joining the Daily Swell program if you need help. I've helped an absolute ton of men and women because I assist every new member with custom macros, meal plans, my free cookbook, and daily workouts, all for just $8 a month. And the Kin Split will finally be live in just a couple of weeks. It includes the same workouts and nutrition guidance that she used to lose over 20 pounds as well. So if you're interested, you can click the link in the description down below to try a week for free. Now, with that being said, I do believe that because I took this cut at a relatively perfect pace, I was able to keep the weight loss consistent without stalls or many changes. You only need to lower calories when the rate of loss per week isn't what you need to fit your timeline. So for the third key, we set a reasonable timeline and rate of loss from the beginning. You can't lose weight at significant rates for long periods of time without risking muscle loss. Across the entire cut, I managed to average 1.5 pounds per week, and I know that because I weighed myself every single single morning and took weekly averages to get a much clearer picture of the current position. Anywhere from 1 to 2 pounds per week is great, but you likely don't want to see 2 pounds per week consistently unless you're significantly overweight with 50 plus pounds to lose. Before I started the cut on day 1, I sat down and planned an achievable timeline to reach our 40-pound fat loss goal. It was imperative that I knew how long it would take to safely lose that amount of weight. Most people don't have a clear goal, so they spend much of their time getting burnt out, which leads to big fall-offs with untracked meals and inconsistency. I prefer to reframe the word cheat meal and use refeeds and maintenance phases instead. So key number 4 is just that. Firstly, what's a refeed and maintenance phase and why are they useful? Both should be used strategically and only when needed. As for refeeds, I didn't plan them. I only used them when I was losing too much weight with a weirdly big week or my training sessions were suffering due to improper recovery. I utilized 4 refeeds throughout the cut and the influx was typically about 1,000 extra calories split across 2 days, preferably around the training sessions that were suffering in the first place. As for maintenance phases, 2 were actually planned from the start. After the first 20 weeks of cutting, I spent 5 weeks reintroducing calories to maintain and give my body a break. The second came in the last 4 weeks to again reintroduce calories and finish off the cut. The increase in calories was based off the average rate of loss over the last 6 weeks. Being that our protein was high enough, the increase in macros came from 70% carbs and 30% fat. Maintenance phases should be goal and timeline based to help you when the total weight loss needed is quite high. Losing 40 pounds all at once is still doable, but can definitely be less enjoyable. It really depends on how consistent you are because the last thing that we want to do is make it a forever cut due to cheating. So our 5th key is one that I personally take very serious. The consistency needs to be quite high to ensure that the reasonable timeline can be kept. I held about 99% consistency across the board with my meal plan, workouts, steps, and everything else in between throughout the entire 8-month cut. I didn't lose over 40 pounds by chance. It took an insane amount of consistency and time to make it happen. I know this because I checked in with myself each and every week and reported it to my Daily Swell Discord community. I could have taken it slightly faster, but like I said earlier, going with a higher rate of loss will lessen the time, but ultimately increase the risk of muscle loss in a longer duration cut. Finally, for our 6th and likely most important key is our sleep and recovery. Until 2 years ago, I treated this the same as most, underutilized and underestimated. Sleep can significantly change the outcome of the cut and how much muscle you will retain during the process. Over the last 250 nights, I haven't missed 8 hours of sleep once. If I stayed up late for a movie or gaming, I slept in to make up for it. If I had to wake up early, I made sure to get in the bed on time. I also used blackout curtains, sleep music, air purification, and a nose strip to get the most efficient sleep possible. If you think that your 5.5 hours is enough, it's not, and you're severely limiting your potential. It's also super important that we manage overall stress during the cut as well. High cortisol doesn't create a safe space in the body for recovery and growth to occur. So aim to lower the stress across the board in whatever ways you can. Losing fat is a relatively simple process that comes down to a few major components. Now, if you're following all 6 keys already, then you're likely getting 95% of the progress that you could get in the first place. It's not always easy to stay consistent, but reminding yourself of the goal at hand will keep you motivated and stay on track. As always, if you need help with macros, meal plans, or workouts, consider joining the Daily Swell program so I can help you personally. But that's going to be a wrap on today's video, guys, so I hope you learned something and I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hugs and kisses. Peace out.